Hi, it's Lindsay with High Sierra Legal, and today we're going to talk about trusts. Exciting stuff, I know. So, what exactly is a trust? Well, a trust is a document or an estate plan that transfers your assets to the trust to be managed by the trust to help avoid probate. So it is one vehicle, if you will, to avoid probate. It's a nice vehicle because you have managerial control. You're doing all the work ahead of time. Kind of in a weird way, you're doing your probate for yourself ahead of time. With a revocable living trust, and that's what we're going to talk about today, there are other types of trusts. There's an irrevocable trust, there's special needs trust, there's a bunch of different types of trusts. But today we're going to talk about revocable living trust. And a revocable living trust is great because you, again, have that managerial control and aspect of that trust. You're able to revoke it entirely if you don't want it anymore. You can make changes to it. You can do amendments, as we call them. And that makes it easy to have this estate plan or trust flow with your life. You get some kids, add them in, you can list who you want to manage the trust. You can all sorts of managerial control, the same as you do with your assets already. We're just going to now do it through our trust. It's kind of a weird concept. With a trust or revocable living trust, you are giving you your stuff to manage. So I always say it's almost like you're forming a family business for yourself. So you are going to form an ice cream shop. You're going to make the ice cream shop, bought the ice cream shop. We're going to go ahead and now manage the ice cream shop. That's you as a trustor buying that ice cream shop or creating this trust. You're going to manage that ice cream shop every day like you normally do with your assets. You're going to funnel all of your assets into that ice cream shop because you want it to be successful. You want to be able to have direct managerial control over that ice cream shop. And the day that you're unable to manage that ice cream shop, your new manager comes in, or as your successor trustee comes in to manage your ice cream shop just like you normally would. So if you're incapacitated or you're no longer with us, you have a manager to come in and manage your ice cream shop for you. They're going to go ahead and then make sure the ice cream shop is managed correctly. They're going to close everything out. They're going to sell or liquidate that ice cream shop and then distribute it to your heirs or beneficiaries, if you will, according to those wishes. So that's kind of a weird concept that you're forming a business, in a sense, a family business for yourself, because you're the manager now of these assets. In theory, you don't own these assets anymore. Your trust or estate plan now does. So what a trust is pretty simple. Lawyers and people like to convolute it. They like to make it really complicated because they want to justify their mahogany desk and their, Lambo that they got outside. A trust is a very simple document in a lot of ways. It is who you are as trustor, giving you your stuff to manage as trustee, what we're going to call the trust, the name of it, who's going to manage that trust if you're no longer able, and where does that trust go? Real simple. Nothing crazy about it. No, secret things that only rich people have. Nope. It's a way to manage assets so you and your heirs can avoid probate. So again, you as trustor, giving you your stuff to manage as trustee, what we're going to call the trust, who's going to manage that trust if you're no longer able to or no longer with us, and where does that trust assets go? Simple. We literally could write it on a piece of paper and call it a day. We like to include more things into that estate plan or into that trust so we can have some direction on how to manage these things. But that's the nuts and bolts of a trust. Really, really simple. So don't let people convolute it to be this crazy thing, because it's really honestly not. The benefits of that revocable living trust is that your heirs will avoid probate if everything is done correctly, because again, you are kind of doing that probate ahead of time for them, so they're not having to go through the courts and do it for you. Also, benefit is that you control over those assets. You're able to manage those things. You can buy, sell, loan, encumber, lien, all the things that you do with your stuff already. We're going to do it now through the trust. So that's kind of a nice way of making sure everything is taken care of and managed in a sound and fiduciarily way. Advantages is that, again, it'll take your heirs not having to go through probate. So that's the biggest benefit, and that's honestly why we do it, is to avoid probate. Privacy. Trusts are private. They're not recorded anywhere. They're not put anywhere. They're not going through the court system like a probate would be, or a will is. That, those are transparent. We can look those up as a public person on the websites of the courts, or go down the courts and look at those things. A trust typically is not recorded anywhere. Some people like to record them with a recorder, but I prefer not to, because anybody can go ahead and look at those. So it keeps that privacy there. And they're changeable. That's another benefit of a trust, is that you can amend them. They can flow with your life. I always say, little Jimmy starts dating some weird girl and we're like, we don't really like that weird girl. We can cut Jimmy out because he's acting like a dumbass. 10 years later, he gets rid of weird girl and he's acting normal again, just put him right back in. Cool things about a trust that way is that you have that managerial aspect. And it gives kind of the power back through the probate process because you're avoiding that for your heirs. They're not having to go through that. So they have direct control and managerial aspect of your estate because they're not having to be bound by the parameters of the probate process. So that's also a really great benefit of a trust. So those are kind of the advantages of a trust and what a trust is. There are more things that go into a trust or an estate plan, and we can talk about those in a different video, or you can check out my blog and my website. So that is a quick and dirty rundown of what a revocable living trust. Again, you as trustor, giving you your stuff to manage as trustee, what we're going to call the trust, who's going to manage that trust if you're not able or with us, and where's that trust assets going to go. That's trust. So for more information on a full estate plan and what kind of goes into a trust or the nuts and bolts and moving parts of a trust, then check out my next video and we'll go from there. Also check me out or subscribe to my Instagram, Facebook, or check out my website at highsierralegal.com. Thanks.